How we doing, family? Welcome to another 7-Minute Social. Actually, not another 7-Minute Social, but as we've been announcing, our last 7-Minute Social. At least our last in this form, coming at you every day. I'm sure we will see 7-Minute Social again, but not in this weekly format. But this will be our last time coming at you like this, but no fret. It's not ending something. We're just putting this down to start something new. And more exciting news about that in a bit. But it being the last 7-Minute Social, I didn't want to do it by myself. I wanted to bring a few people in with me. And this has been a labor of love done by many of us. And so let's see a few of the faces. And so every single Sunday we had with us Joe Lewis. And so let's welcome Joe on now. How you doing, Joe? Joe, you are muted. We also had, how you doing, Joe?
I'm doing well, Estes. How are you?
Good, good, good. We also had with us every Tuesday, consistently, week in and week out, Pastor Josh Rios. So I'll go ahead and bring Josh in. And then, of course, we had with us every Friday, consistently and solid, Christy Topolo. So I will bring Christy in as well. How you doing, Christy?
Doing good. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
And we are just waiting on Josh to get here, as usual. Oh, man, but it has definitely been a journey. And I just want to thank everyone for being a part of it, for being consistent week in and week out. Joe, every single Sunday, you were recording for us for Monday, and we appreciate that. Consistently outside most of the time.
Yeah.
In your garden, tailbed of your truck. Josh, consistently week in and week out, recording for us on Tuesdays. In fact, I like the trend that you started to take, making it a sermon preview. That was really great. And then, of course, Christy, consistently every single Friday. And I like what Christy did. I actually copied off of it. She would give us challenges, or she would give us homework in her socials and, like, you know, have a call to action, if you would. And that was always great. So just thank you guys for doing that. And I just want to go around the horn and just ask a few questions before we thank a few other people and get out of here. I just want to know, in your opinion, what was possibly the one social that you remember the most? Whether it was your favorite to record, or maybe your hardest to record, or it was the message that you really, you know, struggled with or felt like. What was yours? Let me go ladies first. Let me start with you, Christy.
So for me, it was actually the one about perseverance and pressing towards the mark. I remember that week I was going through it. I was at a super low point, and so it was hard for me. I had to be vulnerable, and just it was really emotional. And this is always a topic that comes up for me that is just, it's hard, you know, when it gets tough, I just want to quit and I want to run the other way. And so I was just really looking for some inspiration and motivation to keep pushing forward, and thank God I got it. So that was the one.
All right. Joe, what about you? What was your one that stands out the most to you?
Yeah. It was, interestingly enough, the one where I spoke about the Jericho.
Okay.
And the walls, and challenging everyone to essentially kind of use that as a model for praying down trials and tribulations and struggles. And
someone actually did it. Someone actually.
That's why it's memorable. You know, I put it out there, and I was surprised to get a text message later that week from one of our members who was going through a pretty significant struggle. And she just said, you know what, I'm doing this. And she got an answer to her prayer, and she thanked me for that. And I was just like, wow, you know, when you least expect it, you know, to get a response like that was pretty powerful.
Woo, yeah. And she marched around a building.
Yeah, her work at her job and praying over that issue. And she got a positive response. She had been struggling for weeks to try and get an answer through with the agency that she was working with. And then finally, you know, the Lord just opened it up, and in a very magnificent way as well.
Wow. I'm sure you had no clue when you were recording that someone was actually going to get up and go march. That was amazing. Pastor Josh, what about you, my man? What was the one that stands out?
What's up, E? For me, I believe there's so many, right? Like, I think we were scrolling through, and I think I saw over 100 total 7-minute socials. So I was
I
like,
think there were 111 or something like that recorded. Yes.
So yeah, 111, which didn't even, I was like, wow, and time flies. So off the top of my head, I'm gonna say this one. It was John's Gospel, and we talked about the verse Jesus wept. Real simple, really short, but for whatever the reason that week, a lot of different people did text me, and they were just like, I'd never seen it from that side, this vulnerable Jesus. And so giving us permission as well to be Christians who can, a lot of times we'll say things like God is good, it's everything's great. And so sometimes we feel bad if we have those moments of maybe vulnerable or crying, but Jesus leading the way, that even though he's king, he's not so kingly that he can't weep in the moment for his friend. So, and even though he has the authority, like, why are you crying, Jesus, when you know you're about to raise him back anyways? Like, and yet he doesn't allow, the divinity, right, the power of his divinity to like take him outside of the realm of being touched by our human experience, which is to say, like, yeah, even I can cry, even though I know I'm about to raise him back up. I'm gonna call his name and he's coming out. So that probably was one of them, because like it was just so short. It's something that I'd never really talked on before, and then there were just quite a few people who said, hey, that really hit a spot for me.
Yeah. Gives us.
I just got goosebumps here. You talk about that.
Yeah, it gives us license to feel comfortable to empathize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, That's it.
True. I think for me, the one that sticks out the most was the hardest of the two hardest to record. One was Communion with Little Estes.
That was good. That's probably one of my favorites.
We did that thing. I want to say we did it like 10 or 11 times. At the end, I felt like Little Estes was going to mutiny and take over. I was going to be put out in the street if he didn't want to record again. And I mean, we ate so many crackers. I feel like the next time I go out to Communion, I'm going to have a little bit of like PTSD. Like, I don't want to eat another cracker again in my life. We kept doing it over, but he hung in there with me. Every time we did it and we watched it back, I saw the mistake, and he was like, but then he started to see it. And he started to own it and say, yeah, we can do this better. He started to own it and say, and before we did it, we talked about it and how important it was. And so it was like a good teaching moment with him. And we just wanted it to be intimate. So much so that he even got this idea of like, he had more ideas. He started feeding in, and he wanted it to be good. And like, we wanted people to be sitting at home. And back then everything was new. We had just gone into shelter in place. Now it's like, whatever. But everyone was still scared and feeling isolated. We don't feel as isolated anymore. And he wanted it to feel like we were in people's house, and just for him to own it. And so though it was rough, and though it was just like, after that, I said, I never want to record anything again in my life. It was good. And so that was just a labor of love. And then the other one that was probably harder was the one he did for Father's Day by himself. And, that one he put a lot into, and just watching him do it. And, I stepped back and let him do his thing. And so those were probably two of the most memorable and most difficult ones.
Yeah, that's good.
Now let me go around and ask this. Not your own. What was the most memorable one for you that you watched that someone else did? If anyone has one.
I got so hard, but for me, definitely whenever the kids were involved, that just like, that spoke to me in ways that, I don't know, that adults can't. So you see a kid in there, and it's just like, and so your Communion one was definitely that hit. I think also just overall, just seeing people who don't normally speak, who aren't normally teaching, but then, we asked them, we invited them in, and seeing like, I was like, dang, like, look at you. Like, that's your gift. You don't even know it, So seeing different people, even like seeing Kim, usually Kim is more behind the scenes, and Kim just stepping up to the plate and doing a great job. So there's that one. And I also loved seeing couples. So Christina and Ernesto, seeing a married couple, and the dynamic of how they're teaching and flowing together just was, for me, it was beautiful to see. It was a beautiful thing to see that they are together, you know, partnering with God and teaching you know, things of God, but together. So it was just special to see that.
Yeah, with the kids, quite a few people like Angelica always had her son on.
Right.
Reese had her 2 sons on as well. And I did love that people and when they did it, they were vulnerable. They didn't make it like, oh, we're the perfect family. You know, Angelica was talking about, you know, struggling and keeping Micah focused and how, you know, and Reese was actually really vulnerable, talking about having a child with autism, with a special need. Yeah. And, you know, I would like to imagine that someone at home with small kids watched that and was like, yeah, this is real. So that was definitely good.
Yeah. I agree. I liked when the kids were involved. I think my all-time favorite, to be honest, was when your mother joined for Mother's Day. That was like, oh wow, it was cool. I wasn't expecting that because you said you had a surprise, and then to see your mom on there and that, you know, she did an excellent job. So it's like, wow.
Yeah,
I remember that one.
Yeah. Christy, as you get ready to come on and tell us your favorite, the backstory on my mom, I told her I wanted something for Mother's Day, and I asked her to help me. And so she wrote it and said, here is your message. And I said, no. I wanted you to do it. She thought she was creating this for me. And so I said, I'm going to record you. These are your words. You're going to do it. And so she didn't know that she was writing for herself. She thought she was trying to help me out with my message. So it was really fun.
It was good. It was good, man.
Yeah. Christy, what was yours? What was your favorite or favorites?
My favorite was actually when you and Little Estes did communion. Communion, it's always been really special for me. I always enjoy it, and I really miss having our communion services. So for me, it was awesome, and I love hearing the backstory on how many takes you guys did and eating all the crackers. I remember you said that you guys ran out of juice because you had to do it so many times. But yeah, it was just awesome. I just really appreciate that you guys gave us that opportunity to be able to do that at home with our family. And then Reese even took it a step further and posted it on Facebook, and it was nice to see all of the families who did do it post their pictures of them having communion. So that was really special.
Yeah, I agree. I would say I have a problem with the number one. So my top 3, Josh, the one you did on Grace.
Collateral
Grace. And I remixed it. In my 7-minute social, I said I improved upon it, but I had to take it and do my own 7-minute social based off of that. But that was just like, wow, that message really spoke to me. And then I had a couple of other favorites as well. But we had some good guests. For example, we had Jamie come on. And Jamie did one where she did, was it Nature's Flu Shot? You guys remember that? She got a blender out and she went and she did the whole thing. And so that one was great. And another one that I really loved that was different from the rest was Sam Paquita coming on and singing. And just using her gift. She didn't try to do what we were doing. Hey, can you do a 7-minute social? She just said, I'm going to do what I do. And both her and Jamie did that. And I really, really love that. But out of all of the, you know, many 7-minute socials that we have, and it's 111 of them. Yeah, Josh. I mean, there are just so many great ones that stand out. And we had some really great guests. And while we're here, I'd just like to call out some of our guests. We had Bert Norris on twice. We had Loretta Middleton. We had Jeremy on. We mentioned Angelica and Reese already, Sam Paquita. We mentioned Jamie. We also did in June where we had special guests who weren't a part of our church.
Right.
And I got my good friend Michael Layton to come on. I got my dad to come on in there right here. Josh.
Gabriel Sanchez.
Yep, that was good. Kim had her cousin, Christina Maselli on. That one was great. I had my main man, Mike Layton. Mike Christie was a mentor of mine throughout my life. And so he came on, and that was great as well. And so we just had some really great guests. Josh, you want to call out some other guests we've had?
So we had Destiny and David Villasenor. They are siblings there, so they came out. Ernesto and Christina, who we mentioned earlier, Frank Sanchez, David Hawley. We mentioned Gabriel and Angelica, and also, you did Cynthia as well. So, they just did. It was just awesome. And that was your idea, E. You're like, hey, who can we call outside as well and bring more people in? And it was just good to mix up and see, the diversity, or, have a variety of people.
Yeah, I mean, just thank you to all of those people, to the Bergs, Loretta's, Jeremy's, Holly, everyone. But two people I especially want to thank because they were our consistents, Luis and Kim, and especially Kim. I mean, Kim pretty much almost became a regular. There were times where, you know, whenever we asked, they were always like, yeah, but they just became our go-to people. And so they're not on this conversation, but they should be. And just thank you very much to those two for consistently being there, doing it. One more story, and then I'll give us our last question before we get out of there. I remember once someone was supposed to record, and I got a message saying that they couldn't do it. And I had been waiting on their video to get it uploaded, and I got that message around like 10 o'clock at night. We can't do it. And we hadn't missed a day. And I was like, darn, that means I got to get up and shave and put a shirt on and record. But we didn't let that happen. And so instead what happened was, as I got that message, I immediately got another text message from Luis saying, here's a 7-minute social for you to use anytime you need. I'm just recording one for whatever. And I was like, did anyone tell you to do this? He's like, no. And God knew that one was going to go out and one was going to come in. And so I appreciate Luis just slipping that one in there last minute. It was amazing. So, but thank you to Kim and Luis and everyone else. Okay, let's get out of here on this one last thing. What's your last message? What's your last salutation? What do you want to say? Out of all the messages we've said, what do you want to leave everyone with?
Well, I know for me, man, the year has just been very monumental, all right? You know, everything going on. But I was just talking to a classmate of mine who lost a family member, and she's lost 4 family members this year. I had another friend of mine, classmate, who lost 6, and 2 of them to COVID. I lost 3 just in a month and a half. My youngest brother, my grandmother, an aunt who also died from COVID. And we just lost a classmate of mine who we saw last year at our reunion. He passed away on Friday. And I mean, it's just, you know, we had some members that passed away or family members. I know a lot of people are just losing loved ones and having a lot of traumatic situations just all around. And I can just only imagine it becomes overwhelming. And this is just really a time that we need to really, you know, open that word and find that kernel, that piece of gold that's going to hold us, and or draw near to a friend that can definitely help you, hold you up in prayer and come and support. So just encouraging everyone to continue to reach out and pray and just bond as best you can with your families and loved ones.
Wow, yeah. Josh, how do you want to, what's the last word you want to give us real quick? We got a few minutes left.
I want to actually, it's not much of words. I actually want to say thank you to you, Estes. My word is thank you, because without you, none of this would have happened. Of course, we got behind you. You had a solid team that you were able to put together. But if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have these 111 videos. So what I want to say to those listening is that God always plants the seeds of ideas within us. And then it's up to us to take action and do what we need to do. And so in the midst of everything that's happening in life, like, God's still speaking, God's still working, God's still moving, God's still with us. That's the promise, right? Emmanuel, God with us. So I just want to thank you for being that guy to step up and for allowing God to, you just like, I got this idea, and I really believe that was God inspired. So it all starts with an idea, and so man, just thank you to you and your leadership and bringing us home, man, taking us.
Yeah, appreciate that, definitely.
All I can say is praise God. It was his epiphany.
Yeah, it's good, man.
Christy?
For me, I just want to share a scripture verse, Matthew 7:7. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find, and knock and it will be open to you. And I just want to remind everybody that no matter what you're going through or where you are in your life, keep on asking God for help. Keep on seeking his will in your life, and keep on knocking on that door, because you never know what is going to be on the other side. When God opens the door, it's always something amazing on the other side. So just keep on pushing, family, and I cannot wait until we can all be together physically, see each other, smile at each other without masks on, give each other hugs. I just can't wait for that day. So God bless you all. Thank you so much for tuning in and for everything.
Yeah. My last word, Matthew 13:23. Jesus telling a parable. He said, the seed that falls on good soil represent those who truly hear and understand God's word and produce a good harvest, 30, 60, or sometimes even 100 more than it's planted. The idea behind 7 Minute Social was this was all brand new. We couldn't meet at church. Let's do something temporary. We never saw it lasting 6 months. Like 6 months later, this was supposed to only go on for like 2-3 weeks, right?
Right.
And so now here we are, we're still going. And now that 7 Minute Social is ending and we're transitioning to something new, I just pray that everyone who's watched is a good seed and you go from watching every day to now producing something. I hope that this wasn't just something for you to tune into on YouTube, but now as it goes away, you step up, and whether you're recording or producing or whatever, we have this small group is coming up next. Invite someone to a group. Maybe you will host a group. In fact, go to our website or go to the app and contact us and say, yes, I want to host a group. We need people to host a group. It's not as much as you think it is. It's not as hard as you think it is. Just simply organizing and getting people together. But I just hope that we can go from being the seed and watching 7 Minute Social to then now everyone who's ever watched producing a bit of a harvest. That's my message. Let's go from watching to producing. But in the meantime, can't wait till we're back together. And God bless everyone. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks, man.
Real quick, may the Lord watch between me and everyone watching while we're absent, one from another.
One from another. Amen.
Amen.
Take care, guys.
All right.
Thank you for joining.
Blessings. Thank you, guys. Love you all.
All righty.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.